guest with us who is really awesome. She's done some phenomenal work off screen and even better work on screen. I can't decide which is better. But she's a great human being and a wonderful example for young people. She's a role model for millions. And quite honestly, it is a pleasure and a privilege to be able to welcome someone who doesn't need any introduction. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, please put your virtual hands together for none other than Sonakshi Sinha. At the top of the show, at the top of...
Well, you've let out your secret very early on in this interview. So now I know when you've paused what you're actually doing.
No, but trust me, the network's not very good. That is what I would like to say.
Okay, we'll stick to that.
The first question, Sonakshi, is this, that I wanted to ask you that as somebody who always sees the glass not half empty, the glass half not full, right? Glass half not full, half not empty.
No, I always see it half full.
Half full, okay. So the person...
I see it half full. You're confusing me also.
This is the trick. This was the trick one. So as a person, always sees the positive of things, positive side. I'll make it easy for myself.
Yeah.
What is the biggest positive to this pandemic for Sonakshi Sinha?
I think for me, and I think for a lot of people, I think it's just realization, of what's important, what's not, the value of people in your life, not taking the realization of things not to take for granted, the realization that, we as human beings just take and take and take and take from the earth, from the planet. And the realization that we don't need to do that. We can survive with, what we just need to survive with. So I think realization of all sorts, actually, relationships, friends, who really cares for you, who doesn't, people who check up on you, that now who they are. Relationships, I think, family, you get to spend so much more time with your family, I think, automatically. And it's a good thing, we, in our hectic lives, we really don't get to do that too often. So for me, the biggest upside of this pandemic is just realization, actually.
Is just realization.
Yeah.
No, but that's a very deep answer. Yeah, that's got a lot.
I feel like finally we talk about like being woke and like being all of that, but I think it's finally happening now. I actually read something really interesting which I want to read out to you.
Yeah, sure.
I took a screenshot of it earlier today.
No, but you said who are your real friends is something that you've come to know.
Yeah,
Only
absolutely.
Your real friends are.
And I've been joking about it, that 2020 has been cancelled. In fact, my birthday just went by, so I'm like, I'm not adding it to my age and all of that. 2020, we don't want 2020, make it get over fast and all. And then today I read something so interesting.
Sure.
And it says, what if 2020 isn't cancelled? What if 2020 is the year we've been waiting for? A year so uncomfortable, so painful, so scary, so raw, that it finally forces us to grow. A year that screams so loud, finally awakening us from our ignorant slumber. A year we finally accept the need for change, declare change, work for change, become the change. A year we finally band together instead of pushing each other further apart. 2020 isn't cancelled, but rather the most important year of them all.
Wow, that's super.
And it made so much sense to me. I'm not cancelling 2020 anymore. Yeah, really.
It's the year that everybody wants to delete. You said you wanted to not add it to your age, but I think your passing birthday. But even if you did, I don't think it would make much of a difference.
It's fine. Yeah, it's okay. After reading this, I'm like, I definitely want to remember 2020 and like for all the things that it taught us. Really.
No, what I meant to say is that you yet pass off as somebody who's in college, so it doesn't really matter. But I think this and what even Tom Foolery made, I don't know whether you saw that, but he made this video in which he talks about realization, the fact that the 2020 is. So many of these videos going on about that basically talk about that 2020 is not something that needs to be deleted, but 2020 is such an important year per se.
Yeah. I mean, every day it's something new. I won't be surprised tomorrow if we are invaded by aliens because, like, look at what's happening around us, and you're just like waiting, what next? And I believe it's true. When something just pushes you to be so uncomfortable, I guess like it breaks you out of your mold. It helps you to grow, and that's really what this year has done for a lot of us, I think.
No, but Sonakshi, had this been a typical Bollywood interview with one of those Bollywood magazines, they would have taken only one line out of this. They would have said, Sonakshi Sinha says, we may be invaded by aliens.
Yeah, but
And then,
thank God it's not. No, then. Thank God it's not one of those. Yeah, and then like in red, I would have like splashed thrice with that dum dum dum. Yeah. Well, thank God for that. It's not.
no, but quite honestly, and I'm very glad that we're doing this because this is another side of you, in the sense that we see you as the person on the movie screen that is either saving lives or is doing epic shit, as your
As my mug says. Yeah.
But in this regard, and talking about the environment, and you've been somebody who's been vocal about the environment since the longest time. Yeah. So uh, the fact that one of the biggest winners of this pandemic also was the environment. Your thoughts,
Yes.
your thoughts on the fact that nature has been one of the biggest heal, like nature's got healed because you get your car also time in order to breathe, but somehow human beings forgot that there is no planet B. And I think the environment,
that says something, right? That says something. Look at it, all of us are inside, and the environment is thriving, nature is thriving. Sometimes I even feel this is nature's way of hitting back, like putting us all in our places and saying that, what, you messed with me for so long and so much, now it's your turn to suffer. And honestly, like I feel that holds some truth to it, because we cannot continue to do what we're doing to our planet. We cannot continue to live the way we're living. And I hope, that we've learned something from this, because it's not a joke. It's not funny. Look at the stories that are coming out about the quality of the air improving, animals, kind of species coming back, which we thought were extinct, stuff like that, and just nature thriving. And I hope that, we don't go back to our old ways once all of this is over and done with. We really make a conscious effort to make few small changes in our lives, because now we know
Correct.
that, we only need so much to live with. We can survive on so much. So let's not plunder our planet, just let's not loot it like that, like the way we've been doing for so long, taking it for granted for so long. And
don't be a lutera when it comes to the planet.
Yeah, don't be a lutera when it comes to anything, actually. But most importantly of the planet, because it's just not going to do anyone any good, really.
No, but almost 20 million people on your Instagram family, and that's if you remove the million, that's the total number of people that follow me, basically. But to the 20 million people, I think you've been putting up really sensitive messages. Like I saw, I think one of the messages where you said, "Stop behaving like a human. Don't stop behaving like animals." And I think it's the need of the hour, right? Like the need of the hour to become more empathetic. And I think that's something that this pandemic has taught the most of us, to be a little more altruistic and empathetic.
I think now even more so, because of what the world in general is going through. But anyway, like I think it should, like children should be taught to be empathetic and to be compassionate from a very, very young age. This is something that should be instilled in them right from the very beginning, because then that is why when they become adults, they will not be behaving like how, these stories that we'll be hearing. In fact, that thing about the elephant that happened yesterday, and it's not a one-time thing. You hear these stories about cruelty against animals all the time, and we call it humanity, but are we really even behaving human? Like, I mean, are we supposed to behave like that? We are the ones who are taught compassion, taught love. Animals aren't, and even they don't behave like that. They don't kill just for fun or for entertainment, or it's terrible. I think we really need to change that phrase from being a bad thing, like stop behaving like an animal. It's a good thing if you behave like an animal.
I think stop behaving like human, like a
Yeah,
human being should be the new,
like a human
like
being,
you rightly said.
Yeah.
But like you said, being human is so important, but we've forgotten how to be human.
Yeah.
I'm sure your co-actor for many films, Salman Khan, would have to say this about this. But that said, that it is important to be human. And talking about being human, the idea is that as IIMUN as an organization, of course, nobody pays attention to what I say, but people such as you who have a strong voice, they usually come on the platform and they speak about different issues. And I was talking to some of our advisors, and they said, Rishabh, because we have so many young people attached to the organization and not you, why don't we do something with these young people in terms of sensitizing them? And like you rightly said, that the younger you are, the more you need to be sensitized to the environment. So instead of having a World Environment Day, which is today on 5th of June, do you think that it is better that we start, like we have a week, which is a World Environment Week, where we sensitize people just generally to what the environment is about? And so we're starting a small signature petition. So first I'll get your thoughts on that, and then I'll tell you what we're doing.
Yeah. No, honestly, like I think even a week is too less for people to, because you'll do it for that week and then, for them to follow. I think it needs to be drilled into their brains. I feel like it should be a subject in school, every school. Have a separate...
Sonakshi Sinha for Prime Minister.
I mean, have a separate class where you're teaching the importance of, being good to your planet, saving the planet, undoing all the wrong that we've done to the planet, just making kids aware that in their daily lives, how they can be doing things, habits, instilling habits in them that will not affect the planet in a negative way. So I think it should be a subject in school, honestly. A week is too less still.
A week is too less. I only wish that the Indian government and the United Nations was listening to this, and I'm sure that
every day from junior KG to the 12th standard, just put it in their heads.
I'm going to record this. I'm going to have this recorded and sent across to both the UN and to the government.
You must.
Saying that, look, it's not just us. It's everybody who's basically saying this. But on that note, Sonakshi, we're starting with this small petition saying that getting signatures of people saying that it is a necessity in order to ensure that young people are given a World Environment Week and not a World Environment Day. Do you think that this is a petition that you'd be interested in signing, because your voice is much louder than mine?
To start off with, yes, I would love to sign it. I will get my entire family to sign it. I'll get all my friends to sign it. And I will put it on all my social media accounts for everybody to sign it, because I feel it's so important right now.
So my 20 plus your 20 million. So we've got now 20.
And 20. Yeah, fab. Yeah, that's a good number to start off with.
But Sonakshi, I'm so glad that you mentioned it. And let me take you to the next part of what we do. It's called Tum Bhi Karona. So we've taken the word Corona and we've added things before and after.
Okay.
So you as a person growing up, you faced a lot of pressure in terms of, and anxiety, just as any other teenager would. And especially in your early 20s as well. In this lockdown, young people are faced with the same anxiety. Basically, my question is your advice to the youth to deal with this, because we're feeling very anxious whilst we're indoors, and therefore, how do we deal with this anxiety?
Honestly, the first step is to recognize it, because I feel like all my 20s, like I started work when I was 21 years old. My first film released when I was 23, and all my 20s was spent just working. So even if I had anxiety, I didn't realize it, because I immersed myself with work and I just concentrated on that. I was really enjoying it, so that helped. So even if I had it, I didn't really know until, I kind of took a step back and started, recognizing these feelings and actually sitting and thinking about how I feel. So even now, I feel like when everybody's at home, we have a lot more time to spend with ourselves, a lot more time to understand our thoughts, our feelings. And it's very important to listen to yourself. So I think find something, in this lockdown, meditation is something that I started. It's something that I was never able to do because I could never sit still. I could never get my mind to be still ever. Constantly thinking and jumping from one place to the other, until I realized that it's okay if my mind is jumping thinking things, but it's most important to come back to that moment. So I've started meditating, breathing exercises, and honestly, that really calms you down. So I would really recommend that to like everyone. It's important, and that 5-10 minutes of the day, you're just one with yourself, and it's so important to have that.
No, it's very true. Like to be one with yourself. In my case, however, when I started meditation, the first few days, this was long back, of course. The first few days, I used to shut my eyes, try to meditate, and only hour and a half later realized that I was in such a deep trance that had gone to sleep.
Yeah, that happens to me when I do shavasana. Like I passed out, but it's really important to just stay in the moment, and I had never really understood the importance until I actually started doing it, because it really calms you down. Other than that, like I also paint, so that is very meditative for me in itself. It's so important to find something that you like to do, and that kind of takes you away for that time that you're doing it, so whether it is dancing, whether it is singing, whether it is painting, sketching, listening to music, making music, I think it's important to have something, writing, just an outlet. Yeah.
Everyone's not as lucky and gifted as you.
No, of course. That's why I'm saying find something you like to do. I've given lots of options. I'm sure there are a lot more options.
What you said is actually true. That find something that you like and keep yourself productive. Also, there are so many aspiring Sonakshi Sinhas who are watching this. Because, no, honestly, when we're doing this and when the team came to know about this entire thing, and it's a small cohort of about 20,000 people who actually work on IIMUN, and this family is tightly knit. So when I put a message saying that we're talking to Sonakshi Sinha, they said, first, why are you talking? Because she doesn't she doesn't want to see your face, and if she sees you, she doesn't want to see your face after that.
No, that's me. No, don't say that.
But there are so many young girls and boys who message saying that, and especially young girls whom you inspire so much that they want to be the next Sonakshi Sinha. So I must ask you this: if there is for all of these people, not just the organizers, but people who are watching this all across, what is your message to a 16-year-old self of yours? 3 qualities that you need to become the next Sonakshi Sinha.
That's really sweet, but I'm really overwhelmed to hear that. I mean, it always feels nice, to hear that somebody wants to be like you. But the first thing I'll tell anyone who wants to be like me is that don't try and be like me. Be yourself, because that is what I've kind of a principle that I've followed my entire life. Be yourself, which is why it is Asli Sona. Be real, be yourself, be true to yourself, and it's not just like a name I kept. I really believe in it, that you have to be real, you have to be you. So first, that would be my number 1 advice. Number 2, self-confidence. I think it's very important to be confident of yourself, of qualities you have. Be appreciative of yourself more than anything, because until you don't appreciate yourself, others won't appreciate you. And thirdly, whatever you want to do, whatever you're doing, give it your best. Don't do it half-heartedly. I think that is something that I really follow. I think it's what's really helped me, sustain for so long in my career as well. I work really, really hard. Like, people might not be able to see it. On the other side of the screen, it all may look very hunky-dory, very happy and very easy, but it's not. It takes a lot of hard work, and I'm very proud of myself for that as well. I work very hard, and that's one quality that I love about myself. So yeah,
wow.
These 3 things.
Wow. These 3 things, this is the magic mantra, guys. So you heard it from her, and I like the fact that your room is completely pink and you're wearing pink. So it just suits...
It's not supposed to be, because I'm actually not a very pinky, girly person. I just happen to be wearing pink. My walls are peach actually. In this light, they might be looking pink. And there's a lot of green scattered around as well. So, yeah.
I got mine painted green in the middle. So,
yeah. So I have a lot of green as well in my room.
In tune for this day specifically. I painted it myself.
Oh, really? Lovely. That's fab.
I've whatever I've done in the house.
So for Independence Day, it'll be orange and white and green.
We'll have a chat on Independence Day then, and then
Yeah.
I will show you the room. But Sonakshi, let me ask you another question, which a lot of people have been wanting to ask you. And if you
Yes.
answer this question right, correctly, we will transfer 1 million Zimbabwean dollars. Zimbabwe.
I'm just checking the conversion rate.
It's roughly $6 or $7. But
Wow, thanks. Huh.
But a lot of people ask this question saying that what came first, the chicken or the egg? I'm going to ask you this question saying, of course, what came first, the chicken or the egg? But what came first, humans or the environment?
Obviously, the environment. I mean, we are because of nature, because of the environment, and because of like the Big Bang, and then all the gases and the smoke and the all of that. You get the drift.
The Big Bang, as in Sheldon and
yeah. That's exactly what I'm talking about. That's how humans were created, because of Sheldon.
See, this is the reason why people said, Rishabh, you shouldn't be taking the interview. But
it's fine. At least you're keeping it funny. I'm glad. But no, seriously, I feel like I mean, I know that it was the environment, and it's because of nature that we all are present over here. So
no, these are the
chicken and the egg. I think like some animal must have evolved into like the chicken, and then it must have laid an egg. So yeah, I'm guessing. I think like dinosaurs. Those really tiny ones. The compsognaths, and they probably developed feathers and like became birds, and then became chicken and laid eggs. So, I put a lot of thought into this.
This is very serious. Yeah. This is why this answer gives you $1 million, Sonakshi. This is the reason why you get $1 million Zimbabwean dollars for this.
I'm glad. I'm gonna check my bank account tomorrow.
Now, of course, just right after this, and right after I ask you the last question on this segment before we move into a quick rapid fire.
Okay.
So it's my last question on this segment is, what is your idea of an ideal planet? Because we've grown up as children, people grow up in a utopian world where anything is possible. But when you grow up kind of slowly and gradually and reach your teens and then your 20s, you kind of realize that being human is not something that comes naturally. So what is your idea of an ideal planet? Like if you were in charge of the world, what is your ideal planet?
My ideal planet would be a world where human beings, especially because now obviously we're the ones with the most developed intelligence and brains, which is why we are what we are. I think human beings to be more accepting, not more accepting, just accepting and respectful of every living creature on the planet. And to put it like, I can give you the perfect reference. Have you seen the movie Avatar?
Yes.
That planet is the ideal planet where every living being is respected. When a being is killed by mistake or intentionally, a prayer is said, a sorry is said, where they take care of their plants, their greens, their trees, where everyone is connected by one force of nature. It just binds all living beings. I think that is my ideal planet.
How nice. Listen, this is why I'm saying Sonakshi Sinha for Prime Minister. But as I move on to the next segment, which is the last segment, a quick rapid fire, I must ask you this. This is something that I didn't mean to ask you at all, but I must ask you: have you ever considered joining politics? Because I think the country would be a much better place if we had people like you in Indian politics.
Honestly, like, ever since I started working, every interview that I've given, people have asked me this question, but
and I thought this was going to be different and special, but okay.
No, I'll tell you what, I'll tell you why, and my answer is no, because I feel like I would be able to do a lot more good not being in politics than in being in politics. The reason for what you're doing, why you're doing, I feel like somewhere gets very diluted. Too many people have their own vested interests and agendas in politics. So I feel like the kind of things that I want to do or want to say would probably not reach people in the way that would be able to do as myself, being myself. So no, I don't think I really have the aptitude for politics. So just because my dad is in politics doesn't mean that I'm going to get into politics.
No, no.
That'll be a whole other nepotism conversation over there now. They're like, hey, you became a politician just because your dad's a politician.
Oh God, no. But my idea was not to ask you because your father was, but because of the answers that you're giving. They're not just.
Oh,
yeah.
Thanks.
No, seriously.
Wow.
Seriously. Remember, if you ever join politics, you have one.
That's the first, because everybody usually asks me because my father is a politician. And I'm really happy that you asked me because of the answers that I'm giving you.
Otherwise, I wouldn't have. Otherwise, I wouldn't have asked you this. But if you ever join politics, remember this one thing: you have one vote guaranteed. But
fabulous. Thank you.
I could even assure you that 20 people from my end, but I don't know how many would be left by then. But
I'm sure after this one you'll have more. I guarantee it.
But I watched Coffee with Karan and this small segment we took from there.
Lovely.
But it has,
and it's actually a very fun segment even on the show.
We'll deviate from Bollywood and ask you this: what is the first thing that comes to your mind when I say the following words? Okay. So the first thing when I say food, what is the first thing that comes to your mind?
Pizza. It's been on my mind for a while. Can't be ordering pizza right now, but I can't wait to.
So even you've got the restrictions of not eating outside food, is it? I thought I was.
Yeah. No, I don't. I don't want to. I don't want to take that chance. Yeah.
In my case, I'm not allowed to. That's the only difference. But
oh really?
Yeah. It's like a lockdown in our building. Nobody's allowed inside.
Okay. That makes sense though. I think better safe than sorry.
Yeah. But when I say Lutera, what is the first thing that comes to your mind?
Poetry in motion.
What?
Yeah, I think that I don't know why I see myself as independent from that film. When I'm watching that film, I don't even see myself. It's just such a beautiful movie that was made, So, and I love Vikramaditya Motwani for making a film like that. So for me, it's just like poetry in motion. Yeah.
And I think everybody loved your character in that film. So that's it. The next thing that I wanted to ask you is when I say lockdown, what is the first thought that comes to your mind?
Lockdown. Trapped.
When I say coronavirus, at that juncture, what's the first thing that comes to your mind?
A bat for some reason.
As long as you didn't say as long as you didn't say made in China.
Oh yeah, that also came to my mind when I was trying to be nice.
Okay.
Not feeling so much love right now for our neighbors.
They say love thy neighbor.
Yeah.
But then again, this is a tricky situation that one is in. That's it. When I say happiness, what's the first thought that comes to your mind?
I think it comes from within, so it's inside of you. Yeah.
It's inside of you. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. This is too deep for me to even delve further on. So
happiness comes from within. You've heard that.
I just pretend to be as stupid as possible, and therefore I'm sitting behind a bunch of trophies so that people
don't.
He's a smart guy.
Don't. Maybe that's why you have 20 followers. When you start acting smart and show your true intelligence, you'll get more followers.
Oh, trust me, when I write those articles in any newspaper, I wish people said the same thing. But that's it. But that's it. When I say family, what is it that comes to your mind?
Our love and togetherness.
My third last word. When somebody says India, what comes to your mind first?
Motherland.
Oh,
yeah,
nice.
in every way.
How nice. And when I say environment or nature, what's the first thing that comes to mind?
Nurture. It nurtures us, so we need to nurture it back.
And the last word, when I say IIMUN, or India's International Movement to Unite Nations, what's the first thing that comes to Sonakshi Sinha's mind?
The future.
The future! Yeah! Looking at me, couldn't say present. She definitely can't say past because she wants to be polite.
No, I mean it. I mean it. You people are the future of the world, and please try and make this world an amazing place than it already is. Please, I think we need to really step up our game and make this world amazing.
Well, thank you, and thank you for doing this, Sonakshi. Because quite honestly, usually when people like me talk, just generally, I think very few people listen. When people like you talk, I think a nation listens. And
no, but it's people like you who bring us in front of a lot more people, right? So thank you very much. I feel like you're really not giving yourself enough credit for this. It was really nice chatting with you because it felt like I was talking to a friend. So, and you know, honestly, that's the only way I feel.
I thought I was a friend, but then again, now it's all right.
Sorry, what? You actually got stuck.
No, I said I thought I was a friend, but now at least I can talk.
There's still time for that. This is the first time I'm meeting you, so let's not jump the gun.
But the first time, this is the only reason why I had a lot of self-deprecating humor in the middle, is so that if not at my lame jokes, people at least laugh at me. So
no, but really, you were really good, and I'm really glad I had this conversation with you today. And you know, you're helping me reach out to so many more people, all the students, and like I said, the future of our world. So thank you, Rishabh.
Well, and thank you, Sonakshi, for doing this. You are honestly somebody who I think young people look up to, and therefore I'm delighted that we could facilitate this. It's been a pleasure, a privilege, and from the bottom of my heart, very, very grateful to Sonakshi Sinha for joining us on the World Environment Day. Thank you so very much.
It was entirely my pleasure. Thank you so much.